Well, another lost but definitely not forgotten people are the Yemenis, suffering through a civil war now for 5 years. Just to enter the country is life-risking. Padraic McCluskey is with the group Doctors Without Borders. He joins us by phone. The only way to get anyone inside that country is by phone. Thank you for taking the time. Padraic, what are you seeing on the ground and who are you seeing there in Yemen?
Well, for the past couple of years, across many different parts of Yemen, we've been seeing the health consequences of violence, displacement, an economy in free fall, and a collapsed healthcare system. The consequences of this, sadly, is that every day many people are falling in the location where I am at the moment, in Thai's governorate. We've seen hundreds of newborns die over the past couple of years as a result of this collapsed healthcare system. These are people who in the past would have been more easily able to access healthcare, but now because of the conflict are having to take long, dangerous and expensive journeys to access remaining healthcare facilities. There are sadly just too many needs for organizations like MSF to support, and often people arrive to us too late for life to be saved, and sometimes we just can't take in any more patients.
I think a lot of people are very aware and very grateful for the work that you do, Doctors Without Borders. Let's talk about what you're observing in terms of the human spirit, the will to live, the desire to have hope for a future. Is that still with the people of Yemen?
Yes, I think there is always hope. I think we see every day here in the hospital that we're in the strength and resilience of Yemenis as they try and cope and overcome the different challenges that the conflict has brought up. I was walking through the neonatal departments here of the hospital today, and it left quite an impression to see very young babies, a day, 2 days old, just battling their first days in their short lives. So I think seeing the humanitarian crisis, I think it remains to be seen whether they will take those steps.
We're in the middle of an election campaign, and the various leaders talk about what they can do for their own country. What can we Canadians do for the people of Yemen?
I think if you're from Canada or any country in Europe or the US, I think there's always more pressure that can be placed upon people's representatives, upon politicians, to just ask the simple question: why isn't more pressure being placed upon the warring parties to protect civilians, to protect hospitals?
Your compassion comes through loud and clear. How has this experience been for you and the others with Doctors Without Borders?
I think it's obviously it's a very busy time, especially for our Yemeni colleagues and the international medics who work here in the hospital that I'm in at the moment. But I don't think it kind of compares to the situation that our patients find themselves in, many of whom who travel long distances to access healthcare on a daily basis.
Is there an end in sight? Is that even a possibility?
As MSF, we continue to call on the warring parties to protect civilians, to protect hospitals and medical staff, and to ensure people have access to the assistance that they need. Those steps can be taken. It is tragic that a lot of the health consequences of the conflict, and the warring parties can take steps to alleviate some of that burden. That would make a big difference to civilians' lives, and whether an end is in sight remains to be seen.